Alright, hello and welcome to another episode of EL Speed Shop. We're back working on the 2006 six-cylinder Ford Mustang 4-liter. Today, we are working on, you can see down in there, some leaky valve covers. Valve covers are O-ring style seal. Here's the new one so you can kind of see. They're really great. There we go, a little better. They're really good. They seal a lot better than the old school cork gaskets, a little bit less fuss and muss, but over time, heat, compression, vibration, everything gets to them, and they lose their tension and start to leak. So we're going to get that fixed. This doesn't look to be just a terrible job. Looks like we'll have to move the coil block, a couple crank hoses, disconnect the fuel line for the fuel rail. I think that was a vacuum line for the brakes. Then on this side we've got a couple heater hoses that are in the way. I'm hoping that we can just move them instead of having to unhook them. And then we've also got PCV, a few other odds and ends, but it doesn't look too terrible. So I'm gonna mount y'all up in my, there we go, handy dandy hood latch camera holder, and we'll get to it. Alright, so first things first, we're going to start on the driver's side, just because. We're going to pull this PCV line off. So these are pretty simple. You've got this little green tab. Pull it back and over, and they just slide right off. Again on the back. Snake that out. Set it out of the way. Next, we're going to do the coil pack. Looks like it's held in with 3 bolts that are 3 different sizes. So this top one looks to be an 8mm. And also off camera, I marked my spark leads, just front to rear, 1, 2, 3 for each side. That way I know what goes where. I dropped the bolt, but how lucky can you get that the bolt actually drops out of the car and goes all the way under and comes out by the tire. Didn't have to crawl under it or anything. Hey, I'm making a video. Can you help fight ladder? My dogs love to fight like they're trying to kill each other, but they actually are the best of friends. Alright. So those 3 bolts are out. There's also the electrical connector on the back of the coil. It's just a 4-wire plug. Remove that. And we've also got this plug at the front. So now that's loose. pull the spark plugs off. And I'm just going to set this on top of the motor out of the way. Now then, let's see. Alright, so you also have a vacuum line that hooks to the front of your intake and goes over to purge valve over on the driver's side shock tower. So to remove that, you push, on this one it's a little clear plastic clip, push it down and that frees it up. So that way that can be out of our way. Again on the other side. Get that out of our way. Okay, so to pull the fuel line off, it's got a little quick connect. You pop the top off and then push it through. And that should be free. And then it just pulls right apart. Hold up and I'll show y'all. Alright, so this is the fuel. You see, pushes up. This cap comes up over it. So you loose this and then just push it through. And that slides right on out. So that's pretty easy. So now that's done. It's got a bracket down on the side of the head. Gonna get that loose so I can get the fuel line up and out of the way. This little bracket is a bit of a pain to get to. Not much room to work at on the side of the motor. And it's one of those lovely screws that you can either see it or touch it. Just like that. That's free. Now, I can get this up over and more or less out of my way. So next we've got this wiring harness for the injectors. I'll pull that loose. And the sensor on top of the valve cover. There we go. That should hopefully be free. Now that that's up, there's a bunch of crud and nastiness along the top of the valve cover, so I'm about to go grab my air gun and blow all that schmutz off. Alright, so I got everything all blowed off. I think everything is out of the way to where I can start pulling off the valve cover. I may have to unhook that whole wiring harness on this side to get it out of my way. Not sure. But I'll try and leave it hooked up because old wiring harnesses have a tendency to break the little Christmas tree style mounts that hold it in place, and that can just make a whole lot of extra headache. But I might not be able to get it off without it, so we'll see. So in theory, and in actuality, that should be free. Snake it up and around. And there's one. Valve cover off. I'm going to grab a rag, clean the mating surface down. It doesn't look too bad, but just make sure there doesn't get any dirt on it. And then I'll show you all how to replace the gaskets in the valve cover. Alright, there we are. We've got our valve cover off. Got the face cleaned up. So now we're just going to take a screwdriver and find somewhere to start prying the old gasket up. There we go. Now that the gasket is up, just gently work your way around, and you can see how old and nasty these things are. They're cracking to bits, coming out like that. Alright, so I got the old valve cover gasket out. Time to get the new one on. And these look like they're good and symmetrical, so that's nice. Get y'all up here. And work on getting it in. Hold up. Take two of that. Got the valve cover now laid up how it's supposed to seat. I apologize for my atrocious camera abilities, but get it laid up, get it started, and then just work your way around. These are pretty simple to change out. Looks like I'm going to have to pause y'all, use both hands to get it the rest of the way in, and then I'll show you what I did. Alright, we are back. So I've got it in. You'll have to run over a couple times to get it all the way seated. Come on, focus. There we go. And you can see how much higher this gasket sits compared to the old one. So that should be happier. Now we've got to change the gaskets that go around the holes. So I will flip this thing over and show y'all how to do that. So these are the old gaskets around the bolt hole. Hopefully I can do this one-handed. Just roll the old gasket off. Grab your shiny new gasket. Must be nice to be one of those big car shows that have people to do this. So there we go. There's our gasket on. And then these just press in the hole like so. So now you've seen one. I don't think you particularly need to see the rest. So I am going to do the rest of those off camera, and then I'll be back to show you how to put this thing on. Alright. Gasket and O-rings are all replaced. Everything looks happy. Now to snake this back in. And hopefully will be all nice and done and everything's pretty. Got a little bit of a squeeze. There we go. Getting over the timing chain gear. Now that's all lined up. So we'll get everything started. A little trick when you're working on something like this that you've got to somewhat guess what goes where. Start on your corners. Work across from each other. And don't put anything on all the way tight. Get all of them started good. And then tighten them down. Otherwise you can be fighting yourself and we'll be saying lots of dirty words. Alright, so now we've got our valve cover on and secure. So now we start hooking everything back up. And then we're done. Start finagling our fuel line back in. Alright, it looks like I'm going to be on this one for a minute because it's being aggravating, so we'll catch back up with the action once I get this bolt started. Alright, we are back. I finally got it in. If you can see that little bolt way down in there, that's what was fighting me. There's just not much room to work on it. But now we've got that in, so connect our fuel. Just like so. Actually, I'm going to have to put you down so I can use both hands. There we go. If you can see that little bit of a collar right here by this finger, seated all the way in, that's how you know it's seated. You just push the bottom side up, and then this top side over. There we go. Now it's fully seated. Top side over, and there you go. Fuel line's hooked back up. Got whatever sensor that was, maybe knock sensor. Injectors. fuel pressure sensor, that there. So all that's hooked up and happy. Now we can remount our coils, hook our vacuum crank vent lines back up, and this side is done. Alright, so for the vacuum line, with this style fitting, all you have to do is just push it on. And again, push lock. Nice and easy. And over here, same thing for the PCV. You just push it on. You'll have to work that little catch a tiny bit to get it to seat. And there we go. One side's done. Now on to the next. Alright, so this side looks like it could be a little bit easier. I'm not sure. We'll see. We've got a bracket right here that holds the two heater lines on. Got to pull the spark plug leads off, unhook a couple sensors, PCV valve and everything. But hopefully we don't have to actually remove the heater lines. I don't think we will, but we'll give it the old college try and see. So now, come back here, make sure those are loose, which they are. Pull the spark plug boots. Valve cover vent. Couple sensors. And we'll pull the sensors off. Not sensors, but connectors. And just like that. Everything's free. I'm going to finagle this back out of our way. Like so. And now that that's free, open, I'll hit everything with my air gun again, get it cleaned up, and then hopefully we can get this valve cover off. Alright, and we're back. Get everything cleaned up. Got our 6 valve cover bolts to take off. Alright, so the wiring harness for the engine runs along behind this valve cover, and it has a little metal plate to secure it to that loops over my last bolt hole. So now I've got to figure out where the other bolts are so I can get that loose. So we'll be back in a moment. Alright, we're back. There was another bolt holding a little metal bracket on for the electrical connector at the back. I think I've got it free, so now we're going to see if we can get our valve cover guy. Hopefully we can. So far, not so good. Alright, so we're back. I got it off. So, as you can see, there's all kinds of crap going everywhere back at the back of the engine. Turn it this way and make a little more sense, maybe. So anyway, pull the front of the valve cover up. Pick the outside back here up. And then a little bit of force and finagling, and it popped right out. So, gonna clean everything up. Replace the actual valve cover gasket. It looks to be identical to the other side, just reversed. So once we get done with this, we'll be back. Alright, we are back. Got everything cleaned up, ready to go in. Now to get this valve cover fished back in. Hopefully it goes in a little easier than it came out. I'm going to pull all the studs out. See if that makes life a little bit easier to go back in. Alright, take two. Sensor. Over. Let's go. There you go. As you can see, it is a bit of an aggravation, but it does go in. So the valve cover's on. Now I'm going to get this little bracket that was back here on. And we're getting close to the end of this project. That's it for this episode of EL Speed Shop. We've got our fresh, shiny new valve cover gaskets in. Everything's back together. Thanks for watching. Be sure, like, subscribe, do all that YouTube stuff. Until next time, hope y'all have a wonderful day.